when we envisioned this thing, we wanted a central repository where folks, both internally and potentially externally, could gain knowledge around what we were doing and what the technology is, principally around the Power Platform or around some of
Mhm.
our corporate performance management tools that we have, and sort of have that location where folks could get themselves educated, and then also we could, they could get certain questions answered. So tell me a little bit more about what the team developed.
Yeah, Eric, it was great when you brought this in because it was a culmination of a couple of months of all of us kind of complaining about different things going on. And I would say that so and so just asked me, this question. Aaron would say this, Kevin would say something, and everything we said, they're getting an awful lot of the same questions from different people because I had a connection, was on a conversation. When you started kind of putting that math together, said, all right, let's bring everything together. Even when we ourselves needed to go look for information on our own team, we were jumping 4 or 5 different places. And I think that was the eugenesis of, all right, give me one thing, give me a portal, give me an app that we can show off as an app for the team internally, as well as the company itself can get back in and do some of that self-service. Hey, I need to find X, Y, and Z. So you gave us a very broad scope to say, build me something that's going to fit the need for that we can show off, that people can self-service, and that we can get more efficiency from the team itself, so that we're not spending time answering the same question 3 times or 3 people asking the same, answering the same question. So
Yeah, so
this is the process.
Yeah, so it was a productivity play, right? I mean, it
Yeah,
was a productivity play for the organization, for us as well, but then for the organization to gain access.
right.
Perfect.
And now you've got a team full of people that if we notice that I spelled resources wrong, that they can all go in and make those changes. That the Power Platform itself and the agility at which you can move through that application. It's not that old compiled code that we used to have that was only set on my server and then someone have to download and update it. No, we all get back into the source and can tweak this stuff. And that it also, this is the view of it today that we're showing. It was different last month, and I guarantee it's going to be different this month because needs change.
Perfect. Walk me through a few of the different components that are sitting within the screen here, because I
Sure.
see I mean, first of all, it's visually beautiful, which
Thank
is
you.
just fantastic. But
Right.
let's kind of walk through some of the functionality here.
Sure. And this is a Canvas app that we're looking at here, and we're displaying it within Teams, Microsoft Teams itself. So we've got the capabilities of building apps within Teams, which is awesome, as well as building standalone apps that you can then display and run within the team environment itself. So we've got this displayed inside of our Power Platform data services team itself. We've got a couple of different screens. Across the top, you've got the main news feed screen is what we're looking at. Then we've got some tabs that are going to bring us over to Power Apps, Power BI, Power Automate, Virtual Agents, and Solver. On this one here, we're starting off in the upper left-hand corner, the posts. So we had Alan go out and scrape a bunch of different news sources and locations to bring in new articles, new information, things that are going on in the field. And as we're looking at this now, I realize that we've got this sorted backwards. We should have the newest stuff at the top. But each one of these things you can jump over to and say, here's some other information. Here's more, articles that are being published. We're scraping this from, I think, 4 or 5 different sources, but the main one that we're pulling it from are the Microsoft Power Platform blogs. So instead of us going to bookmark 4 different places, we're scraping that information down and bringing it into our system and then providing the links and the summary information to get to that information. Again, bringing that metadata in, I can make a decision do I want to read this article or not, but I don't have to go 4 places now for this information. So this is where we built it internally for ourselves, for the team, so that we can, save that time. Instead of looking 4, we look 1 place. Below
Exactly.
that, we've got some high-level facts.
Yep. So it's getting all that authoritative information into
Yes.
one spot that people can access it. Cool.
Yep.
All right.
Underneath that is the facts, and this is the list of questions that I have, in a notepad, that when you ask me a question, or Ernie or somebody else, Tammy comes in, hey, what about this? How do I do that? We all had those shortcuts, all had that stuff in. We finally put the time in and said, let's go build this. Building this FAQ out and saying, here's this information, and then top level stuff. And again, each one of these things links to more information. Here's this more information about the Power Apps. So top level information, get you that first pass. If you want to get more detail, you can launch into it.
Perfect.
And each one of those main components is there. And as if you were to click in each one of the tabs, some of the same components are available there. So one component used multiple places depending on that lens that you're looking for and that particular need that person has.
Mhm. And how tough is it to sort of update or add different FAQ questions? Because obviously organizations are dynamic. They're going to have a lot of different questions, and you want to add
We're
more.
sourcing these from SharePoint lists right now. So it's, you can put it into Dataverse, you can put this into Excel Online, wiki pages, but we're using SharePoint lists for this, high level stuff here, and then jumping back to those links to those other locations.
So, part of the idea was that folks were going out to different SharePoint sites within our organization, or they were
Right.
going to file folders to look for different things, or different, marketing sites for PowerPoint decks, right?
Right.
And here you've got all that in one single location.
Oh, absolutely. So instead of all of that, and even when you create a document with all this information in, and we throw it into a file, in a folder, in a document library, in a SharePoint site,
Mhm.
and ours is pretty deep, and the sales teams is pretty deep. Everyone's team is, deep on those file folder structures. We decided, like, we're going to create a live, living document,
Yeah.
leveraging the SharePoint list, leveraging, those other Office 365 applications, where it's not so longer a fixed document that gets versioned and put out there, because we don't care about the versions. Everything's going to change every day. But now we've got this one living place to say, all right, here's this. And then we just provide that link if you want to go further. But that top level stuff of making it a live document, a live process, makes things a lot easier. And then we can all monitor what's being changed through the alerting and all the other processes built into the system. So we can get Teams alerts to saying, all right, I just updated this FAQ. I want someone else to validate this change. Aaron, Alan, Kevin, Jason can get in there and, flag that as I goofed, or that it's, two people say, yes, we can promote it. Awesome technology to put place for our own uses.
That's great. Well, we can't go into every single one of these tabs here. Otherwise, we'd be breaking the rules of having a short little video here. But let's kind of hit, Power Apps here. So what do we got here?
Get the main components, top level stuff, a little bit more than the tasting menu. But if you click on the Canvas apps, model driven apps portals, that's that first pass that if a salesperson or someone new to the company says, what is this? This is going to give them that information. It links over to some client stories that are pre-sorted based on that particular project using those particular objects with that technology, and then more information, more resources down below, the app in the day courses, or how do you create a Canvas app. So get that first question, 101, 102 level classes information, get that to the user, and then move on. And if you click on Power BI or Power Automate, each one of those is set up the same way, so the user gets that consistency from the UI standpoint to say, all right, here's how I can get into this information. I saw this once. Where did I find that? We're trying to bring that in, surface that information as quick as possible. Nothing should be more than 3 or 4 clicks.
Right. And the idea with some of this is it's a short little snippet of a client story that a salesperson will be able to utilize even when they're on the phone with somebody, right? And talk about searchability, within this entire environment.
And if you were to click on the Newsfeed, or in the pancake there in the upper right hand corner, you can jump to the same things. Menu, we've got different ways to show the menu itself.
Right.
And that, those internal apps, that first block that's in the top page, if you click on that client stories, again, this is designed to be embedded within Teams or standalone, but you could be at an airport talking to someone and say, oh, we just did a project just like this, launch off into the client stories, find that client, and then be able to reference that information of what we did for that thing. Again, for the sales support, for anybody needing these examples of things that we do, it provides that stuff within a couple of clicks.
Right. Yeah. I think that's an important kind of business point as well, is that, of course, we're working within a Teams environment on our desktops, laptop, but then also you can have that mobile app and have access to all the same information. The format looks a little bit different on a smaller screen, but the point is you have direct access to it.
And with that modal design, it looks, a little bit different, but all the same content is there. And we didn't have to design 4 different applications. Power Platform knows what it is and knows when it's displayed on there. So again, all of these things are, and everyone at the company has this. If they, download the app on their phone, they have access to this client, this new DPS newsfeed. 500 people.
And so if they do have a request of our team, right, and so we put in, you can see in the lower right-hand corner, submit sales request, which is principally the folks that we answer a lot of questions.
We need to change that. Instead of just sales requests, information requests. If someone, it's not a sales opportunity, but it's just, I need some more information. I've got a client X, or I want to know more about this. It's just that, who do I go to first? We've taken that away from them. They don't have to think about it. They can just fill this form out, and based on when you fill out this particular form, the content that's in there, we've got an automate running in the background that's making decisions on whether it should go to me or someone else on the team.
Yep. Yeah. And the reality is, of course, we're focused on a particular areas of technology. The reality is this same thing could actually be deployed for an HR department, right? Where
Oh,
they're getting
absolutely.
various types of requests, and they could have a single portal, a single interface, including, if you want to say, hey, what's my request? All my, my 401k contribution changes to whatever, benefits or
Right.
questions, all of that. So the applicability of the type of news feed in different business scenarios is really broad, right? So I'll just
Yeah,
kind of
multi-use and and surfacing that information. And this is the next evolution from that SharePoint page portal. Now we're interactive. Now we're jumping and pulling data from multiple sources without having to migrate the data. We're dipping into different, F&O, CRM, all these different locations we've got access to. We can get to that, that user's need can build out.
Yeah. Well, this is perfect, Rod. I appreciate you just taking a few minutes out and then kind of showing me exactly what what we've done here and how we've done it and sort of the applicability. So I
Awesome.
greatly appreciate the time, and I'm sure that this thing will evolve, as you said, and grow, grow over time. Thanks.
Absolutely. All right. Thanks, Eric. Talk to you.
See ya.